Hi, Dante. Hello. Welcome back to the Fresh CrEd. Good to see you.
Craig, I feel like I'm deserving of a better introduction. Like, hola, muy buenos días. Gracias a todos para venir hoy. Estamos muy feliz para tener ustedes aquí hoy.
With 50-plus years of combined produce, supply chain, entrepreneurial, and business experience, Craig Slade and Ed Bertad discuss the impacts of fresh produce on their lives and health. This podcast is a casual conversation between two friends just trying to get better. This is the Fresh CrEd.
No, man, I very much enjoy this, guys. I enjoyed last year's experience. I realized that we jumped right into this. Let me give an appropriate introduction for those who maybe don't know who I am. I'm Dante Galeazzi with the Texas International Produce Association, and our elevator pitch is pretty easy. We advocate, educate, promote, and represent on behalf of the $11 billion of fresh produce that's either grown in the state of Texas or considers Texas first point of arrival for North American distribution.
Wow, that's pretty good. I love that elevator pitch.
Concise.
Good stuff. And we're so Tippa, who is the engine behind Viva Fresh, which is coming up. That's going to be a big part of what our focus is talk about the upcoming event, Viva Fresh. And what year is this? How many we've done? This is
year 9.
9. We got next year's Big 10, the big 10-year anniversary next year.
Yep.
What symbolizes 10 years? Is that like a paper anniversary or is that plastic anniversary? I mean, it's not diamond or platinum, or what does that wind up being? We'll have to look that up.
Paper? I don't think there is a paper one.
Yeah, like a greeting card or something.
Yeah. Now I think 10's past paper. I think paper's like year 1, maybe 2. I didn't even know there was a paper one, to be honest with you. So that's news to me. All right. Well, we'll get to that tip of stuff eventually, but I want to go to coffee. Ed, look here what I got, bud. I don't know if you can read that. It's called the High Achiever, and it's by Bulletproof. Now, I've had regular Bulletproof coffee, so I'm shopping yesterday, and I run across this energy-focused enhanced coffee. And I had to pick it up. Well, it was buy one, get one free, so that was another draw for me. You always have me at buy one, get one free, and then the High Achiever coffee. So I've done this morning. So I don't know how fired up I'm going to be today, because I not only did the High Achiever Bulletproof coffee, but I had a slab of butter off in my High Achiever coffee. So, brother, I am telling you, first cup of the day, full octane, full force. So just get ready for the rest of this show. And you got to try this stuff out.
Are you fasting, or did you eat something?
No, I don't. I eat once a day. That's pretty much my normal MO.
Okay. Well, there's a little snack I think would go very well with that. And they're called Keto Crisps. And there's a flavor that have you heard of them? Taste Can Do, I think, is a manufacturer. It's Keto Crisp, and they have a flavor that's salted butter, and it literally tastes like you're eating a stick of butter.
And you probably are.
So let me ask real quick, why the butter in the coffee? What is it? Because you need the fat? Is it because it makes coffee taste better? Like I struggle with the idea of taking butter and putting it in my coffee.
So it's got to do with the oils that's in butter, and it's MTX, MT something, MTs. It's some kind of particular oils, and you can use, instead of using straight butter, a lot of people use what's called ghee, which is mostly all fat. It's the part without the dairy, basically, if you're familiar with the ghee. And it's got to do with that oil content, and somehow your brain functions better with the access to that oil, and it's partly what ketoists believe in.
So let me ask something. I mean, since we're in the produce industry, wouldn't eating half of a ripe avocado in the morning with a little bit of bagel seed and a few flakes of sea salt achieve the same goal and probably even taste a little better?
So stopping, you did good at the very front end. So yes, on the avocado, boo on the bagel.
No. Bagel seeds, bagel like the bagel all mix. You don't have that as a seasoning in your
No,
cabinet. Oh man, I love
that's
that.
the
You
good
put those
stuff.
sesame seeds on top with the some of those rice seeds and some of the I can't
Is
remember what
that
the
different
black
than
seeds are.
tahine?
Oh yeah, no, this is not even close to tahini, man. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
You're gonna have Craig putting avocado in his coffee next, and I'm not sure how that's gonna go.
Well, listen, Craig, I'm going to send you some of this bagel all seasoning, which is fantastic.
You send me some.
I
Hey, do me a favor, Dante.
Go.
You live near Ed. Can you go by his house and pick up my bag of coffee that he's been sending me for the last 2 years and send that as well?
I'm off that.
Yeah.
I think that canceled out. That order canceled out. You're gonna have to
Yeah, it definitely canceled
call
out.
customer service.
So yeah, but it's got to do with the oils,
Sure.
and your brain really kicks off. It gets your brain into mode because, like I say, I don't eat typically at all until evening. Occasionally, there's days that I'll eat something. I'll go to lunch with somebody or so whatever, but I'd say 80% of the time I eat once a day, and so in the morning I don't want to mess up any kind of ketone energy or whatever that I'm going to have for the day. I don't want to tip my body off. So butter's about the one thing that you can have. There is the problem with that, not doing ghee, is there is a little bit of with the fat, with the dairy that's in there. It's not completely officially keto free or keto loyal. I don't know what you would call it. So,
But isn't coconut oil also an alternative?
Yep, coconut oil. Like I say, the avocado would work. Again, I don't know about your bagel seeds. I mean, I don't know, but an avocado with some salt on it, yeah, you can go that route, Dante. I think that's a good
Where do
call.
bagels typically grow?
That's a good question, Ed.
There's bagel seeds.
Yeah, we should
Bad joke.
maybe we should look into that.
I'm gonna make sure both of you guys have this delicious breakfast that I'm talking about, which is half of an avocado with some bagel seed flavoring on top and a little, few flakes of salt at Viva Fresh. Because, in my opinion, when avocados get to that point where it's like $2 or $3 a box, movement has slowed down, and there's no problem, eating half myself for breakfast. Man, that is probably one of the best breakfasts ever. Right now I'm on bananas and apples. That's fine. Some oatmeal occasionally. But I'm going to make sure you guys get to sample this at Viva Fresh. So the next time we have this next year, you guys can be like, oh yeah, I'm regularly eating half an avocado in the morning now.
I think we just knocked out the menu for Viva. We're really getting things done. You can check that off the list.
Done.
Dante, I've got it. Okay, but
Breakfast menu done.
I'm gonna piss off all my fruit friends. Yeah, you can't. You're sugar bombing yourself. Don't sugar bomb with a freaking banana and an apple first start of the day. You might as well take a hypodermic needle and fire a load of sugar into your arm and say, yeah. Don't do
That's not what you do.
No, like I say, save that for your dessert after dinner. Don't do it first thing in the morning. I'm telling you. I mean, it's like I said, I don't know how breakfast in this country became a sugar bomb, right? If you think about most breakfasts, right? I mean, outside of, the bacon or sausage, or now avocado, which is a new trend. Now, avocado is not a known staple for breakfast item in the United States. It's becoming that. But anyway, how in the world donuts, pancakes, freaking cereal,
we have the Kellogg brothers to thank for that. And their disputing views, but I mean, we could be on that all day. I don't know that we want to go down that direction.
Yeah, no, because I'll get up on my soapbox.
Okay, I don't want to go down that direction either, but there's The Foods That Made America on the History Channel. If you've never watched it, it's really interesting how those guys started. I mean, one of them was a doctor, and he owned a sanitarium. And so when they started inventing breakfast cereal, I mean, it was for
going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
health reasons.
I've seen that.
You've seen it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, those shows are really interesting.
Yeah, no, and you're right. Health reasons, and people needed to poop. and eating just straight
okay.
up. Well,
this is the second podcast where that word came up.
We're two podcasts into this year, and we've talked poop twice. But we're going to continue. Well, you brought it up, but it's true. Part of that said they needed, healthy movements, as my mother used to call them. It's important to health, and he freaking eating a ball of fiber is not great.
The appropriate term is a BM, or bowel movement.
Bowel movement. Yeah, that's true.
All right.
Yeah,
we've officially gone off the rails.
I used to get
so actually, Ed, I feel like this is a great time to pivot to Viva Fresh and one of the goals that we have. I mean, the clean eating challenge is exactly what we're talking about. We have, as America, lost touch with why we eat, right? At some point, we decided that we eat just for flavor. That's it. Right. 100%. It was flavor driven, pleasure driven. That was something along the lines. Our society said, nope, I don't like the way that tastes. Put more sugar on it. Nope, I don't like the way that tastes. Add more saturated fat. Nope, I don't like the way that tastes. Insert XYZ chemical ingredient. For a point, I get it. There's some things that just needed a little flavor. But as a result, I feel like our society lost touch with part of the reason why we eat, and that's because our bodies need healthy fuel. Craig was already talking about, don't start off your day with sugar. Start it off with something else and put sugar in the diet later on. Viva Fresh is about that. I mean, Clean Eating Challenge is about that. We want America to look at the lifestyles we've been leading and say, okay, there is an opportunity here to do something better. There is an opportunity that, as the industry, we should be advocating to our neighbors, our family, our communities to say, look, I'm not telling you have to do XYZ. Just put an apple in your diet occasionally. Put a salad in your diet occasionally. Put some carrots in there. I mean, the local university, UTRGV, said that something like 38% of all kids in Texas don't eat a vegetable at all in the day. Something like 20% of them don't eat a fruit at all in the day. I mean, what does that say about our society? Are we encouraging our kids not to eat fruits and vegetables? It's Ed, Craig, you guys are both, I'm going to say it, health fanatics. You guys are both living embodiments of what we want healthy living to be. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, to the sugar thing, I mean, what comes to mind when Craig was talking about, since, when did morning and breakfast become, would you say sugar bomb?
Sugar bomb.
I mean, I think that the fact that when you wake up in the morning, your blood sugar levels are typically low and most folks have cravings. I think that really plays into the opportunity to present foods that are associated with breakfast to be including a significant amount of sugar. Would that make sense?
Does to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, but
I scored one today.
It makes sense, but it doesn't make it right. Well, I
didn't say it made it right.
Yeah. I know
that's
I know that was your comment. That wasn't your thing. Hey, Mason, by the way, is this better? I mean, do you want that big light behind me and me centered? How do you want this? Oh, he's gone. Anyway.
You look great.
Well,
he's blowing my phone up on the other side saying, hey, could you get in the center of the screen? Well, I'm trying like hell to keep the window out, keep me in focus. So anyway, but yeah, Ed, you're spot on as to probably why we did it. And you think about caffeine, coffee is a jolt. Simple sugars or sugar straight away. That IV that Dante's jamming in his arm every morning, it's a quick hit of energy, right? That sugar is easily converted to an immediate energy. But the problem is it's a fast burn, right? It's lighter fluid on a log, if you will, right? And the log will continue to burn and give you heat and produce energy for a long period of time. That lighter fluid is just for that, that first spark, that first get going. So and Dante, I see you're ready to say something there because I'm beating you up about your sugar bomb.
Well,
because he had a very eloquent segue Like it was perfectly
He
timed.
did,
and
you know,
then
and
he
I
blew it up.
wanted to mark off. He went from poop
So-
to that. I wasn't sure how we were going to segue poop to that, but I mean, excellent job, Dante.
By the way, it's bowel movement. So we went from bowel movement to the importance of eating healthy. So, Craig, I know you hate them, but I do have these dry, unsalted, roasted peanuts. And, I change up. Sometimes it's pecans. Sometimes I know I say almonds, for everyone else who's not from California, it's almonds, but almonds. I have a mid-morning snack as well. You gotta, this little body requires a lot of energy, but not a lot of food at once. I just don't have the stomach for it. But I think guys, we are talking about exactly what it is that we set out to try to do. Man, what is this? 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago when we started the Clean Eating Challenge, right? There is so many, I don't want to say misperceptions, but I think there's so many different ideas about what healthy living or healthy diets should be and can be. And I don't think we want to change any of that. We just want to say, look, no matter what your take is on healthy, it should be including fruits and vegetables, because fruits and vegetables are the original vitamins. Fruits and vegetables have a lot of the natural things that our bodies need for good functioning human health. And it just feels like, at least here in the United States, our society has moved away from fruit and vegetables. I mean, my wife showed me a picture of one of her friends joking about her throwing a bag of kale in the trash, right? She has a Hello Fresh recipe. The Hello Fresh recipe says, take out the bag of washed dried kale and prepare it. And the picture in the Instagram is the bag of washed dried kale in the trash. And the title is, "This is what HelloFresh said. Here's where I think the kale needs to go." Well, why is that? When did we decide that vegetables were the punchline for bad jokes about, hey, let's just throw this whole meal away? What is that about?
Well, Ed, I mean, it's been a punchline since George Bush was president, the original George Bush, the old man. I mean, him and the broccoli and, not wing broccoli. I mean, vegetables have kind of been relegated to the sidecar. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those deals. And let's face it, the American standard diet hasn't done us any favors. I mean, that whole thing has been, got bought off by everybody. The American standard diet is nothing more than lobbyists and them getting their way. And obvious that the produce industry does not have the financial backing that the dairy industry has, that the grain industry has. Freaking worst diet in the world that you could freaking get on would be the American standard diet, flat out, no question.
And
throw that government
Craig,
stuff out the window.
And that, Craig, is exactly why Viva Fresh is so important. That's exactly why what we are doing today, what Ed did with the Clean Eating Challenge, what you do, Craig, when you try to tell people, hey, are you thinking about what you're putting in your mouth? All of that is so important, and that's why it ties together. That's why I love what I do, right? Is because we're bringing the message to people. We're telling them, look, there is an opportunity here to improve, not to stop everything you're doing, but to improve what you're doing, to make your bodies healthier by making small changes in your daily diet. You don't got to throw out your entire pantry. Just add something to your pantry. Your pantry's missing, vegetables. We don't care if it comes from a can or it comes from the frozen section. We'd prefer fresh, but at the end of the day, if you're eating fruits and vegetables, you're doing your body right. You're certainly helping our industry, and ultimately you're helping the country, because let's face it, we're in a health epidemic here throughout the country. I know we talked about that our last podcast. We don't got to go down that road again, but I think it behooves us to challenge listeners to say, what have you done in the last year since you last heard Fresh CrEd, and we talked about Viva Fresh? What have you done in the last year to make a small change in your diet? What have you done in the last year to help your family eat a little better? And if you're looking for those ideas and you're in the industry, Viva Fresh is a heck of an opportunity, because that's what we make all of our meals. If you come to Viva Fresh, everything that you eat that we have prepared as part of that show is associated with fresh produce and unique presentations or unique recipes that present fresh produce, right? I mean, how many of you guys have ever had a sweet onion breakfast tart? I know Craig. Don't even venture into this.
Yeah, there's no sense in asking me that question.
Yeah,
When you say breakfast, if it means it's before 1 o'clock, I probably didn't eat it.
Well, I mean, you can have breakfast for dinner from time to time, but I mean, I totally agree with Dante. Obviously, I think we both do. And all jokes aside, and I'm typically a skeptic on almost everything, although it might not seem like that at first glance. But when Craig presented the idea of the cleaning challenge 4 or 5 years ago when we were in that boardroom, I frankly thought it sounded like a good promotional opportunity, but it's really turned into so much more. And I say that I'm skeptical to mean that I rarely think that programs and stuff like this works long term, but I've been involved since the beginning. First class to, or first group to take on the challenge, and since then have done some mentoring, if we can call it that, maybe coaching or cheering. Look, the reality is it doesn't click for everybody at the same time. I think everybody at one point in their life will have that opportunity to take. Whether they take it or not, it's a different story. For me, it was way later than I wish it would have been. And I'll never stop working on it, so to speak. But the consciousness of eating healthier, exercising, I don't know if I said it on the last podcast, but challenging myself. I mean, I've done some stuff here this year, or just maybe it's drastic, maybe it's over the top. I don't know. I mean, my wife was giving me a hard time because I was going to go to Costco to pick up one thing. And I said, okay, well, I'll show you. I'm going to get on my bike and ride 26 miles round trip for that one thing. It wasn't even necessary, but I did it. Okay.
No, when we talked about it, me and you talked about this, which I think is a great thing to talk about. It never got actually published. So we actually had a podcast where this was on, but it never got produced. So it's
Okay.
brand new for everybody else except me.
Well, it's brand new.
Nathan.
So my point is, I've seen it firsthand, and this isn't just bugle oil. I really think that we're helping people and changing lives. And again, maybe not at 100% efficacy, but it's happening. And if it's one person, as far as I'm concerned, it's worth doing. And we're starting to catch fire. I mean, I think it's everybody's going to progress at different rates and have different motivations and different approaches. You just have to find what works for you. Go ahead.
And Ed, that's key right there. What you're saying, everyone's going to do it at different rates. Everyone's going to have their own path. Everyone's going to progress at a different speed. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we have promoted with the Clean Eating Challenge is that is okay. Everyone is on their own health path. Not everyone is going to want to get on their bike and ride 26 round miles just to prove a point to their wife. I mean, good for you. God bless her for still loving you. I mean, she was probably just like, oh man, I need to say that more often to get him out of the house for however many hours that took.
I was going to say she probably did it intentionally.
Yeah. But you are exactly right, Ed. The Clean Eating Challenge is not about, if you're on the paleo diet, you cannot leave these limits. You can only eat these things. No, we are talking about making small changes that have big impacts over time. And how easy it is to do that.
Now, I think it's worth mentioning, at least I believe, that the sooner and more drastically you get out of your comfort zone, the better chance you have of succeeding. I'm not big, for me personally, of, it's either 100 miles in that direction or an hour or not at all. And that's the only way that I got through that first challenge, which was I couldn't cheat, so to speak, at all on my diet or anything like that, because I knew I wouldn't come back. Now I feel like, I make deposits and withdrawals. I mean, like the bike thing, right? Let's say, I have a dessert one night. Well, next day I'm going to punish myself. I'm going to self-impose some sort of redemption, right?
Sure.
But I never even thought like that before. So that's really where I'm going with this. Is I think there's a lot of folks just floating through life and just, hey, this tastes great. This feels good. Let's do this, more of that, more's better. I mean, hey, I get it. Like,
and that's the part, Dante, so for me, there's two things, so the clean eating challenge piece is really originally about the industry and us messaging to the community, eat more of the stuff that we grow. But instead of verbally talking about it, living the example and showing the difference it can make. So that's one component of it.
Yep.
But then when you get to just what Ed's talking about, and for me, the part that the message I think that is important for everybody is, look, you're in control. Okay. What frustrates me is quite often the excuse train. Genetics, time, so many different things. Consumption of food is completely within your control, right? It's your decision to drink a Coke. It's your decision to eat a salad or versus something else. Those are all completely within your control, right? You can make those conscious decisions. What Ed's doing, right? Ed spent many years. Basically, what he's saying is just unconsciously eating. He went through life unconsciously eating, which is the way most people eat, is unconsciously. They just assume, hey, somebody put it in a package or that everything, all food is equal, and it's not. And so he is now, which is the same place I'm at. I'm in a conscious consumption area where I think about what I'm doing, and I think about I do plenty of things, and I eat plenty of things that I shouldn't, that aren't healthy. But I knowingly make that choice. I don't make that and blame something else. If I choose to have something that's not healthy or whatever, like Ed said, either I think about how am I going to, help my body, overcome this so I can enjoy this moment of pleasure, or, hey, I'm not going to eat for this period of time so I can, have my body a chance to clean up. But again, it's about being conscious about it and recognizing that you're really responsible for the choice. It's not some unforeseen force quite often that puts you in the place that you're at.
Guys, you know what I love about this is there's 3 different people on this call, and we have 3 different approaches to healthy eating, and they're all right. Because the way I look at it is the way we eat are scales, right? And so if I can eat more of the good things in my life than the bad, I feel like I'm on the right path. And I think that's really what we're talking about here is how do we get these scales? Again, this is just my approach. How do we get these scales to better balance, or to be more of the good stuff in our bodies than the things that are bad for us? Because I feel like right now, again, I'm going to bring it all back around. Right now in America, the scales are the other way. We're eating more of the bad things. Our children are being given more of the things that are not healthy for them. Our diets are being pushed in the direction of more things that are not healthy for them. And we are not doing enough to bring that balance back. We're not doing enough to bring the good things. I mean, I'm like everyone else. I go through periods where I have some time to kill. So I'll sit there on TikTok. And because of the things that I like and don't like, I see a lot of health promotions. And I got to tell you, more often than not, instead of seeing a recipe for something with vegetables coming up, I see promotions for vitamins. So the perception is you don't have to eat vegetables, just take vitamins. Well, wait a minute. What really? That's where we're going in society? Don't worry about changing your life. Here's the one silver bullet. Here's the pill that'll make you all better. We all know that's not going to work. That has probably been the approach of American medicine since the 60s. And our health as a nation continues to go down because that has been the medical prescription, so to speak, the recipe for how we are going to fix health problems in our country. And again, the Clean Eating Challenge is about trying to support, trying to promote, trying to bring to the forefront the fact that your healthy life needs to include fruits and vegetables. The form of the fruits and vegetables is really up to you. And it can happen at different levels, right? Like Ed said, there's people that want to go 100 miles per hour in that direction because that's the only way they'll have success. Craig, you talked about it's got to be, you've got to be more pushed on thinking about being better, making better choices. For me, I just look at it as, are you creating a balance? And that's what's great about the Clean Eating Challenge. All three approaches are perfectly fine. All three approaches look at healthy eating in a different way. And all three approaches are right because all three approaches say, look, you can't just put whatever you want in your mouth. You got to think about it. And you got to think about it as a whole. Don't think about just the one meal. Think about it as a whole. Think about, hey, if I'm going to eat 3 times today, and I know that in the morning I want to have cereal, and in the evening I want to have that steak, why can't you have that salad at lunch? Why can't you instead opt for that mixed fruit bowl for breakfast? Why can't you opt for the veggie noodles, in place of the regular noodles once in a while? There are small changes you can make throughout your day that will help you, again, using my term, get you to that balance.
And I think none of us are saying, it almost sounds like it's hard, but the reality is it's not a punishment. I mean, when you like eating fruits and vegetables, yes, it's a little bit harder sometimes if you have to prepare maybe some things. And it's not easy. I mean, eating healthy is not easy. And unfortunately, a lot of times it's not, I wouldn't say not affordable, but not inexpensive. Sometimes, depending on what you're comparing it to, right? If you're comparing it to a pastry or something like that, sometimes is a challenge. But I think, getting folks turned on about fruits and vegetables and craving them and liking them and wanting to eat those things, and particularly kids, right? I mean, I know that kids, I mean, I've experienced it with my own that have been introduced early on. They, I guess, there's not a better word for, I guess, crave to eat those things, right? They want to eat those things. They ask for those things.
But Ed, the kids didn't arrive there on their own. How did those kids get to that point that they want that craving? It's because we, as their parents, gave that to them over time. That was the meal we kept giving them over and over and over and then over again. And so now they're at the point where that's the regular. That's what they expect every morning. And so when we decide, hey, we're going to eat healthy and as a family, tomorrow's the day, that's not their fault they don't crave it. That's not their fault they don't want it. That's our fault as parents. And again, that's what I'm talking about here. Is I'm talking about as a society, we got away from healthy eating. And now when we try to do it, so many people just take that healthy eating and they jam it down someone else's throat. And that's not what we're talking about with the Clean Eating Challenge. We're talking about making small changes over time that have a big impact. And I've got to touch on something else because I hear this all the time, right? Healthy eating is expensive. I'm going to stop you right there. My kids in the morning love to eat cantaloupe. They love to eat melon in general. Anyway, they love cantaloupe in the morning particularly. One cantaloupe right now costs us $5, and that's expensive. Normally, a cantaloupe's about $2.50 at the grocery store. So right now, a cantaloupe is $5. I cut up a cantaloupe on Monday morning for the kids, and it lasts them usually until about Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how hungry they are. That's their breakfast. And when it's not cantaloupe, then it's, sometimes there's an Eggo involved, but I'll cut up a banana and throw the banana on top of the Eggo. So, in a banana, for those of us in the industry, a hand or a bunch, what's a bunch of bananas cost you, right? Let's say the bunch has 9 bananas. It's probably about $1.50. So if I'm eating 1 banana a day and my kids are eating 1 banana a day and I've got 9 of them, that's going to last me the whole week. That's $1.50. What else can you get for breakfast that's less than $1.50? Because I'll tell you right now, it ain't eggs. You ain't getting eggs for $1.50.
All right, before we get off, and we do need to we do need to get past this, but I do want to just,
That's his
me,
disclaimer to say, let me talk more about this.
Yeah, exactly. Hey man, it's pretty good, Ed.
Yeah, I know you.
Yeah, you do. Well, I'm going to try and be as succinct. So the scale system. So here's the deal. If you ask Ed why he's all in like he is, and if you listen to the first couple of podcasts, you'll know why Ed's all in, right? That's the best. I mean, Ed is all in like he is because he realized he could change his life by what he consumed and by exercise and by taking care. He realized that he could get off medications. He realized he could feel better. He could wake up feeling better. I'm in the same boat, right? Mine really more comes down to, which I think this is the ultimate gauge. When you talk about scales, when you go to the doctor, right, and you know what scoring is, right, and you read those scores, right, and you take them home when you get your blood work done, and you get off into them, and when things aren't right, you don't accept conventional wisdom that, okay, I'll start taking high blood pressure pills. No, I think you can take alternatives and try and do it with food and consumption, right? To me, it is, and if you ask Ashley, who was on with us last week, her whole deal and the clean eating challenge. I mean, she's dealing with lupus, an illness, right? She has that illness,
An autoimmune disease.
An autoimmune disease, but she's changed. She's been able to help and counteract her medication. She's talked about how, really focusing on what she eat and going through the cleaning challenge really kind of put her in practice. But my deal is it's not just about visually or just that's my only thing. The scale piece, to me, it's like, if you eat one salad a day and you weren't eating a salad a day before, I'm not sure that does much if it doesn't change your score. In other words, I'm saying take responsibility for your scores, for your health, for how you feel, because everybody that does, and you actually get into it like an Ed or like a me or Ashley or whatever, when you start to feel better, nobody's got to tell you eat more of this or do more of that, right? That becomes a natural driving thing because you're like, holy Toledo, I am in control of this. I have some influence over it. And so that's always my thing is, believe me, you can do a lot of these things. There's only a small percentage of stuff that's completely out of your control, and maybe you've got to lean into medication. But the reality of it is, you can change a lot by what you eat and how you live your life.
And so I think this, as we start to run up on time, I do want to say, if there's people from the industry listening to this and you want to know more about what it is we're doing, or you want to have this conversation with us, or you want to say we're wrong, come to Viva Fresh, because you've got a group of probably about 60 or 70 industry professionals that have gone on their journey for clean eating, and they will have this conversation with you, because I feel like nobody gets into the clean eating challenge who is not passionate about the things we're talking about here today. So Viva Fresh Clean Eating Challenge, we've got 70 or so folks who are either in the program now, who have been through the program, or who have experiences associated with clean eating. And so this is a great opportunity, again, especially if you're in this industry, to think about, how can I personally change my relationship with food? Craig, did I say that in a way that didn't offend anybody, and we're online? Okay.
I think I'm sure you offended somebody. It's impossible not to offend somebody these days. But no, I think that was great. Super segue to get us closing us out on that.
Sounds like a great commercial.
It did. It's a good commercial, and it's a good way for us to move in. Viva Fresh. So Dante, how was last year? Right? Real quick, how were the numbers, expectations? What are we looking at as we go forward into this year's show?
So last year was fan-freaking-tastic. And I'll say that because you had COVID that shut us out in 2020. And then we had a smaller scale show in 2021, and that was on purpose for health and safety reasons. So 2022, we're back. We're one of the first shows of the year that's fully wide open. And so, this is post-pandemic. You've got a lot of people still concerned with health. We had a lot of people who were not traveling still. We had a lot of people with their own various concerns. And you guys are on our steering committee, so we had a lot of question marks going into last year. I got to tell you, we were excited with everything that happened. I mean, we had over 2,200 people attend the show. We had more than 300 retail food service buyers come back. Was that a record for the retail food service attendance? No, but that was pretty freaking great considering the challenges that we had faced the previous years. I can tell you right now, we are already trending quite well. I don't want to spoil it because I told my team that I will not release numbers until we're actually at Viva.
I wanted a spoiler alert.
I know you did, but we are very excited. I mean, we are seeing the same lead up to this Viva Fresh that we did in 2019, where all of our records were blown out of the water. Attendance was at a record level. The buyer attendance, record level. Exhibitors, record level. Happiness, record levels. Food, record quality, right? I mean, it was awesome from start to finish. And I feel like that's what people are going to see in 2023 is that same level of the cliche word here, awesomeness for the entire Viva Fresh event.
Well, tell us where we're going to be, Dante. I'll let you. Location-wise.
Absolutely. Guys, we are going to be returning to the incredible Gaylord Texan Resort and Convention Center in Grapevine, Texas, a whopping 3 miles away from the DFW airport. I mean, it doesn't get any easier for transportation. You literally fly into the largest airline hub in Texas, and you get on a shuttle, and 5 minutes later, you're pulling up to the front doors of this incredible hotel. If you haven't been to the Gaylord Texan, it is awesome. It overlooks a lake. So, I mean, you have no idea. You are literally in a major metropolitan area because when you look out your windows from this hotel, it's beautiful tree lines. It's this lake. You wake up to these gorgeous mornings, birds flying away. The hotel is somewhat circular because all of the rooms are built around an indoor atrium. If you don't know what that is, it's a giant glass ceiling. Anyway, so it's built around this giant atrium. And so you've got restaurants and shops and pools. And I mean, from start to finish, the Gaylord is just an incredible experience. And so we have, as is the way with Viva Fresh, everything's there. So that way, when you pull up to the front doors on Thursday for golf or the wine experience, you don't have to leave that hotel until it's time to go to the airport because you've got restaurants. You've got 2 Starbucks. You have food delivery. We're going to be feeding you. You've got different experiences happening. So, I mean, it's really enclosed. Everyone's going to be there. We've got enough hotel rooms. The hotel has enough hotel
Well, I was going to
rooms.
say, before, as this will drop here in about 2-3 days.
Right.
So potentially by the time this thing drops next week, if you haven't gotten your hotel at the Gaylord, I'm just going to tell you, I suggest you get on that ASAP because last year, and I fully expect this year, we will be selling that dude out quickly. And people will be off-site, which is good. It's just not as good as being on-site for sure.
Exactly.
So
and, Dante, I need some help this year.
Yes,
I need help. I've never even seen the pool at the Gaylord because I tend to be kind of busy during that week for multiple reasons. I'm not going to try to get people to feel sorry for me, but we got to keep Craig away from the pool because he's not getting his work done, right? Between the spa, the pool, facials, massages, all that stuff. If he's not in the spa, he's in the pool. If he's not in the pool, he's at the steakhouse.
So, Ed,
that is an amazing steakhouse. What's that?
See, I don't even know.
I mean, because there's 2 pools. There's that lap pool down by the gym, and then there's that kind of recreational pool. And then if the weather's nice, they'll have that outdoor water park open as well.
I'm doing the lap.
There's a water park there.
I'm practicing for my triathlon, so I'm in the lap pool working out. Ed's giving me a hard time about being at the pool. I'm trying to get healthy.
I didn't even know there was a water park there. I'm telling you, I'm working when I'm there. Craig.
As you drive in on the right-hand side is the Gaylord Water Park. I know this because while you and I are working, Ed, my wife is there with the kids, and we've got some family that lives in Dallas as well. So they're there with their cousins. It is, guys, this is a family event. I mean, we really have tried to make Viva Fresh something that the entire industry can come to. It doesn't matter what level of the supply chain you're in for fresh produce, or what your travel expectations are. We want you to come to Viva Fresh, to come to the Gaylord, to come to whatever the venue is, because we have made it in such a way that if you're coming to get 100% business done, that's what we got. If you're coming to spend time with your industry friends, that's what we're there for. If you want to bring the family, so that way you can partake in a mini vacation with the gaps in the schedule, that's there too. And it's all self-enclosed. So when you park your car that one day, you don't got to get back in for 3 more days.
I just want to give a shout out to the Gaylord, but their venue, their venue where we hold opening night reception, the Glass Cactus, that's right on Lake Grapevine. I mean, it's one of the coolest venues you will see, particularly at an industry event. I mean, it's a separate music venue with I guess it's not a porch, but it's a deck that kind of extends out over the lake, so you can, and it's 2-story inside. I mean, it's 40,000-ish square feet. It holds like 2,500 people. It's pretty impressive.
It's basically a standalone nightclub on
there
on the grounds of the hotel, with a southern style porch on both the bottom floor and the top floor that is wide open, has the bar extending from the inside of the restaurant has a bar from the inside of the Glass Cactus extending to the outside of the Glass Cactus, so you don't got to go inside, right? I mean, it is awesome. It is the ideal entertainment venue for Texas.
It's super cool.
So Dante, what about the Fresh CrEd? I mean, we had the opportunity last year to be there. Are you going to let us come back this year?
You know, Craig, not only are we going to let you come
his
back
phone's probably been ringing off the hook, Craig, asking if we're going to come back.
I'm hoping.
What are you talking about?
But, I'm just curious if he's going to let us come back, though. I don't know.
So not only are we going to let the Fresh CrEd come back because we got such positive and great feedback about having a live podcast happening in front of the expo. No, we are going to put it in the very center of the expo floor this year. So as people are walking on Saturday morning and visiting our 200 exhibitors, they are going to get an opportunity to walk around and see what a live podcast looks like as it's happening from the epicenter of the expo. Because last year, let's set the stage for the audience, right? Last year, y'all were in the foyer. So as people walked up to the expo, they got to see what was happening and they could stop before they went inside. This year, they're not going to have to do that. As they're walking around participating in the expo, they are going to get to see and hear what's happening. And even better is for you guys, since you guys are going to be broadcasting for the whole time, you guys will actually get to see and feel what's happening inside the expo instead of having to get it all secondhand from the speakers that you have coming up for the podcast.
That's awesome. Craig, Craig, ask me what I'm doing. I don't
know. What are you doing, Ed? Because it looks like you're exercising your hand.
Correct, for autographs. Because I think the autograph requests.
I'm sure they will be people knocking down the stage to get your autograph. Yeah. No.
We're going to need security, Dante.
Have you ordered the foam hats for Craig yet? Yeah, so we can do like an ESPN game day and he throws on like the broccoli hat and then the tomato hat and then the onion hat.
And then the corn one.
Mason is in charge of the hats. Mason is in charge.
You really think he's going to put anything on that hair?
Yeah, I was going to say, Dante.
Other than some Dapper Dan?
As long as I've got a mirror after I take the thing off. But we'll work on
that's totally exciting. I think obviously it's a tall order. I think, if we weren't a little bit, I wouldn't say nervous, but nervously excited. I mean, we want to do well and we want everything to come off well for Viva and for all of our participants. But I have a feeling that we're not going to rest until we pull this off and everybody's happy. So I think it's going to be really, really cool and exciting. So we'll be in the middle, as you say, of what's traditionally been the networking reception. I mean, the networking lounge.
Correct.
Okay. Well, Craig, are you ready?
Yeah, we're super grateful for sure to be part of this, and we were grateful last year to be in the foyer there as people came in. That was we had a blast doing it there. Did some great interviews. Again, just couldn't have been more excited. But yeah, to be inside on the show floor, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to contain myself, Ed. I mean, when it comes down to it, I think
the hecklers will keep you in check because, I think the hecklers are going to be a little, there'll be a few more this year than last year. Let's put it that way.
Well, hey, Ed, just make sure Craig doesn't bring snap away pants or something. I mean, I can hear him with excitement. We don't need him running around the show floor in chones. This is still a professional.
Come on
endeavor.
now. Yes. Yeah. You know what? Hey, man, we got to spice it up, Dante. Come on.
That's what I'm talking about with the foam hats, man.
I know. I like the pop away sweat. So, hey, also, something else I think we got to really talk about what's coming, and I'm super excited. We spent a lot of time talking about changing your life by food, right?
Right.
And we've got the speaker that's coming. Our I want to say a guest speaker, but it's the main speaker for the luncheon, I believe. Right?
Keynote speaker. Yep.
Keynote speaker. That's the word I was looking for. Dante, thank you so much.
So this would be under the category, what's different this year, right?
Well, keynote speaker we've had. We've not had anybody like this. I mean, to me, this goes back to, you talk about clean eating challenge. You talk about living example. You talk about difference food can make. So it's, I believe it's Charlie Rocket, correct, Dante?
It is. So Ed, you're right. And both of you guys, Charlie Rocket's very different because where we have had traditional kind of health experts, right? These guys are kind of top of their field, or
industry professionals, health experts,
professionals or chefs. This guy is very, very different because this guy is a multimillionaire who was a rap label CEO out of Atlanta, right? And in his 20s was making millions of dollars promoting rappers.
He made 2 Chainz famous, Ed, just in case you were wondering.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So anyway, this guy is rocking and rolling. But as a result of that, he ends up gaining a lot of weight. He ends up having a lot of health problems. And then he develops a tumor in his brain. And it leads him to kind of stop and reevaluate his life. And that reevaluation results in a 180. And what I mean by 180 is he steps away from the rap label. He decides he is going to become healthy. He focuses on clean eating. He focuses on exercise. And now he has taken that dedication, just like Ed, right? He said, nope, I'm not going to do this a little bit. I'm going to go 100 miles per hour in that direction now. And this guy has emerged, and he is a promoter of new lifestyles. He is a promoter of healthy lifestyles, and he helps people with their dreams. And that's something we'll get to at the end of this. But when he gets up there and he speaks at Viva Fresh, he is also going to be the youngest keynote speaker we have ever had. And I think that's huge because he is going to bring a different approach. He's going to be talking to a different generation with his message. He is going to come from a different set of experiences than any of our other speakers. And he is going to have a total different energy because this guy comes from the music industry. And let's face it, no one in the music industry sits at the microphone and talks like this and gives us.
Yeah, I mean, he's
actual.
Somebody from popular culture, I would say. I was explaining to somebody the other day, he's like the difference between an industry expert or health expert and pop culture. I mean, it's like they talk about rock and roll money. Like there's nothing that can beat rock and roll money. That's an old term, but music money, right? Folks that are in the music industry. I mean, it's so exponentially, it just grows so much faster. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
But he encompasses clean eating challenge. He encompasses Viva Fresh, because you talk about him being an expert or not being an expert. look, he's an individual guy. So yeah, he did really good in the music business. Yeah, he made multi-million dollars in that's certainly there. But he's still just a regular guy,
Right.
that got overweight, that developed a tumor, that took control of his own life. He took control of what he consumed. He changed what he consumed. He got into an exercise program. He basically turned his life around as an individual, just like anybody else. You don't have to be a multimillionaire. You don't have to be any expert. You can do it. And that's what Viva Fresh, that's what we in the industry, we're trying to promote. We're trying to be living examples. Like, if you want to take control and you want to change life, then, this is the stuff that can, what you're eating and how you're eating, and the stuff that we're growing and selling every day can be part of that healthy living for sure. And I think he encompasses everything in the message that we're trying to put out there, young or old.
Absolutely. And he's going to do it in a way that we haven't seen it done before at Viva Fresh, right? I mean, his energy and the fact that, Ed touched on pop culture. So it's funny, when we were talking about speakers and they brought up the idea of Charlie Rocket, we had two of our marketing girls go, well, actually, I follow that guy on Instagram. Wait, this is the same guy that an actual like influencer is going to come up and speak to us? And so I think that's incredible because, again, we normally bring kind of health experts, right? The guys that know the facts, we bring them up. And this year we said, you know what, let's bring someone that's been impacted in a different way from a different part of the sector. And just like you guys talked about, he's a normal guy from the music industry who has had success in a couple different ventures. And now he's had success with healthy living. And that's why we thought he was such a great candidate to be our keynote speaker for Viva Fresh. That's happening on Saturday, March 31st. Friday, March 31st.
So, to encompass all this together, Viva Fresh is coming up.
Yep.
If you haven't registered, get it done right away. Get your hotel rooms booked at the Gaylord right away, and make sure you get the full package so you can go from wine tours to see Charlie Rocket to be on the show floor to see the Fresh CrEd. Make sure you come, stay for the full event, participate in all that it has to offer, because everything there is going to be amazing. It's going to be different, and it is, like I say, it is something that you will not be disappointed if you're there, right? So
it's not your grandfather's trade show.
It is.
Look, I mean, let's be realistic. Trade shows have been associated with excess and alcohol and late nights, and the reality is we're doing something different, right? But I will give all of us some credit, right? There's some discipline involved with this crusade, for lack of I guess crusade's probably a pretty good word, right?
Crusade's a good word. I like that. Crusade.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mission, right? It's a movement. It's I feel has a lot of substance behind the over and above the typical commercial activity that is what allows us to have these events, right?
Ed,
Dante, look, you want to say something?
I do. I think you're exactly right. And I think where we kind of stepped away from that mold, so to speak, is we looked at what we wanted to do here with Viva Fresh. And you guys know this because all three of us were part of those initial planning conversations. Was we said, look, we're not gonna rinse and repeat or recreate the wheel here. We're gonna do something different. And so we said, we looked at things and we went, what do we want to do first and foremost? Well, I don't like running from one thing to the next and thinking, gosh darn it, I just don't have time to visit with the people that I came here to see. And so we created those spaces in the schedule. We relaxed it. We made the trade show. We tried to make Viva Fresh what trade shows are about, which is opportunities to network and meet people. But we did it with Texas hospitality, because the purpose of Viva Fresh, at the very core, one of those essential pillars, is to highlight the region. And we're not just going to talk about the fruits and vegetables we move through this region. We're also going to show people what this region brings culturally, what this region provides culinary, and what this region can do to help lead the nation in fruit and vegetable consumption, in healthy living, and in how we drive new and unique consumption for the next generation.
Well said, sir. Well said. And we're getting up on some time here.
And I didn't even get to use my Pavlov's dog reference.
Well,
gosh darn it!
Is that about the show? Okay,
no, we were talking about when Dante was talking about earlier. I was trying to think in my head what the theory was, but the Pavlovian theory.
Let's save it. Let's save it for the show floor. I like where you're going, and I know what you're doing here, and I love it because I think that's going to be a great start off to when we meet again on the show floor in 60.
Look at Dante created content for next time.
It's good.
That's it's that. Well, it's his nice way of shutting me up.
Also, did you see how he's also vying for a spot on the show? Right. I mean, he's he hasn't seen the schedule yet, so that was his pitch.
Call your people.
We'll get with you
and let you know if we're going to have a spot for you there.
So, but Dante. So Dante, for tip of the association and Viva Fresh, I mean, is there anything that we have failed to mention?
Craig, Ed, guys, we talked about this when we first got on. We could literally do this all day. This could be an 8-hour podcast without even blinking an eye. And I mean, look, an hour 11 has already passed, and we had so much more we discussed even trying to tackle. Folks,
can I say though, I'm excited about the virtual field tour coming back. I mean,
absolutely.
For those of you that were in Austin, I think it was that first year, that was super exciting. We had a couple glitches in between, but we're coming back strong with the virtual field tour. I think that's going to be really cool. Not everybody gets the opportunity to visit growing regions, and I think there's a lot of value there, to sort of be able to get both best of both worlds, actually be on site an event and see a growing operation is pretty impressive.
Well, and Ed, and I know we're at time, so I'll just touch on that real quick. But the virtual field tour is different. Just like the pandemic drove us to use video conferencing. I mean, video conferencing has been around for a long time, but we just kind of ignored it, didn't really accept it. And then the pandemic pushed us to it, and there was a little resistance early on, but we jumped into it. Technology is there. Technology has been there. And we are trying to show the industry we should be using technology to our benefit to communicate, not just to our buyers, not just to our industry, but to consumers as well in new ways so they understand and we can address their questions about fruits and vegetables. And virtual field tour is going to be that. The audience in Dallas is going to be live. They're going to be broadcast directly to an onion field in South Texas, where we're going to have someone standing by, and we're going to talk about and have an engagement between the audience and the folks in the field where we discuss what's happening, and they get to see, that's what the onion coming out of the ground looks like. That's how you get the roots and the top off. That's how that onion begins its process to your plate. That is technology. That is our industry, and that is unique thinking. And I love that because that is one of the core pillars of Viva Fresh, right? How do we drive consumption? How do we build awareness? We use technology to do it.
My only question is, how are you going to fit all the people that are going to want to go to that session? I mean, is it going to be at Cowboy Stadium, or where are you going to do this?
Hey, bro, that session is going to hold 250, 300 people. My suggestion, get there early, right? It's going to be after the meet and greet breakfast on Friday morning. So get your fuel, whether that's coffee with a stick of butter, or you want an actual breakfast, others.
Sugar
come
bomb.
get your breakfast, meet with each other, talk, go into the virtual field tour. It's probably going to be standing room only. I mean, that's what we had the last couple virtual field tours, and be prepared to have your socks knocked off, right? This isn't going to be pre-recorded. We're not going to be talking about a video that was already recorded. We're going to be talking to someone in the field as it happens. So we're excited. We got a lot of great things on the lineup for Viva Fresh. I know we could do this all day. I know we're already way past
I was going to say,
hour.
I mean, I think that we have, if we haven't made the case for Viva Fresh by this point in time, we're not going to make it with the people that are listening. That's just that simple. So a couple of things. Ed, any quote for this week? Did you come with something, or you?
I really didn't. I thought I was coming strong with the Pavlov's dog thing, but I'll save that for
that now. Apparently,
I'll save that for Viva.
So I did bring mine. So my quote for this,
good.
which I thought this was this one is a very simple quote. This is not as motivational as they typically are. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, even you. And that's Anne Lamott. And
Wow.
realistically, what that's saying, obviously, I mean, I think it's obvious, is you know what? We all need to every now and then unplug, take a few minutes, even if it's just in the course of the day, start your morning off. But you should always just unplug for a few minutes and reboot, just like you do your computer and anything else. Unplug for a little bit and then collect yourself, and then all of a sudden you'll go back to work again. So.
If I can, I have kind of a silly quote that I use when people give me, when they're kind of joking with me or ribbing me about eating my salad for lunch. Chips may not give you cancer, but they won't keep you from cancer or other health diseases either.
That's true.
So as we circle it all back around to food, guys,
Yeah.
I've sincerely appreciated it. This has been great. I love doing this, twice a year now, right before Viva and at Viva. This is fantastic. I always enjoy this. I enjoy our back and forth. And for those that don't know, I love Craig's Wu-Tang sweatshirt. I hope to see that emerge again. In the near future.
Everybody. I'm telling you right now, if you're not watching, I've got my favorite hoodie on, which is my Wu-Tang hoodie. And I was telling the guys before the show started, I get more compliments on this Wu-Tang hoodie than any shirt, anything that I wear. So I had no idea Wu-Tang, I guess, was I guess, as Dante said, is anybody that was children of the 80s, or in my case, I really don't get to claim being a child of the 80s. I'm more child of the 70s. But yeah, long and short of it's been a popular deal. Hey, guys, I want to share something real quick.
I found a quote. I found a quote that I wanted to share.
Well, get your quote while I'm pulling up the share. Okay,
you pull that up because I had it on my phone, but I'd forgotten. I'd been keeping a list, and I'd forgotten about it, so I accessed it. Super short. Continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection. Who said it?
Say that one more time.
Continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection.
Henry Ford.
He's an author.
Oh, no.
Author. Well known.
He's an author, well known.
Wrote some. Forget it. We're running out of time. Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. There you go.
Couple things. If you're interested in Viva Fresh, the website is www.vivafreshexpo.com. Again, registration is live. Hotel rooms. That hotel has 1,800 hotel rooms, but we only have a certain block at a great discounted rate of about $260 a night. So make sure that you book your registration first, and then you get the link, book a hotel room. March 30th to April 1st at the Gaylord Texan in Grapevine, Texas, 3 miles from DFW. If you're interested in the association, www.texipa.org. That's our Texas International Produce Association website. Lots of great things. You got to be a member, though, to get some of the special perks like our newsletter and updates on the information. And that's where people can go for some more information on either of those things. Listen, guys, like I said, I love this kind of stuff. I could literally do this with you guys all day. And I just want to say thank you again. I have sincerely enjoyed this, and I look forward to the follow-up happening in 2 months in the middle of the expo floor. Hopefully I get that invitation. Not to be too presumptuous, I guess. But guys, this has been absolutely great. I love it. And just one last reminder to everybody in the industry, come to Viva Fresh. We welcome you. We'd love to have you there. We want to see everyone there. And in the meantime, eat your fruits and veggies. They're good for you. Doesn't got to be part of every meal, although we would love it. But man, make sure you're at least eating them in the day. We've got to change those stats. Our kids have got to be eating fruits and vegetables. Our society's got to be eating fruits and vegetables. We are the engines for change because we are the providers of those items. So let's be the great examples that we know we can be.
I love it, Dante. Ed.
Very, very eloquent. For those of you still on and listening to us, Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook at the Fresh CrEd, and at CrEd Fresh on Twitter as well. Please send us your feedback, questions, comments, concerns at thefreshcred@gmail.com.
Hey, and speaking of LinkedIn, just be sure and check out on Saturday mornings. If you check out Craig Slate's LinkedIn, I'm posting up 3 or 4 things each week that I found interesting, informative, intriguing, or whatever. Check that out. And usually I'm also posting up a link to the podcast here so you can have a quick, easy way to get to it. But check me out there on LinkedIn as well. And guys, thank you very much. Thanks, Mason, for all the hard work, sir. I appreciate all you do. And guys, we will see you, I guess, in Gaylord in Grapevine, Texas. See you soon.
We'll see you guys.
All right. Take care.